welcome to this week's episode of the DW podcast. We're going to be a bit different this week. We are joined by Chris Loomes, who is a booker here at King Tuts, where we're sitting just now.
How you doing? You alright?
Thanks very much for coming on.
That's alright.
Chris was saying before we started filming that he's not done anything like this before, so his chat's going to be brilliant. He's been saving it all up for...
Aye, we'll see.
I suppose just to start, give us a wee bit background about you, Tuts, and what you do here.
So I've been working at DF for about a year and a half, and I've been booking in Tuts since October last year. So I kind of work with all the local bands, all the stuff that's kind of up and coming out of Scotland, and book the shows for them, try and get plans together for them, and hopefully develop their careers forward to a place that hopefully they'll sell out Tuts one day, which is the kind of the aim. And then after that, it's kind of keep going in the trajectory to bigger and better things.
And I suppose like being in a band and being from Scotland, it's like King Tuts is seen as the holy grail, isn't it? When
I'd like to think so. I think there's something really special about this venue. I remember being 15, 16 when I first started going to shows myself, and whenever there was a show in Tuts, you'd always be so excited about it, because when you come to a show in Tuts as well, you feel like you're at the beginning of something, and that you're kind of the beginning of that journey for a band, and then you kind of follow them through and see where they go. Sometimes they don't get any bigger, but sometimes they do, and like I always think it's a nice thing being able to say that you were there when they played King Tuts or when they played the smaller venues before they went and did the Barras or the Academy or the Hydro. So
it's like making your entrance, isn't it?
Aye, totally. And I think like everybody that's into music likes to pretend that they're proper on the cusp, and it's just part of kind of been into it, I suppose.
Totally. We've had loads of bands on this podcast so far. I'll say loads, we've only done 12 episodes before this, but we've had every band that's come on have talked about, the highlight, regardless how big they are. We had Weezer on when they were playing here, we had La Fontaine's Father Son, and they all talk about like their first time playing Tuts was such a highlight for them. Yeah,
and I think it's something that I think a lot of bands remember. And like last year after TRNSMT with the Killers in here, they played Tuts for the first time 15 years ago or whatever it was, and they came from headlining TRNSMT to 50,000 people to come in to play to 300 people in here in the space of half an hour, and it was just mad. And when they were sound checking before it, they were walking around the venue like, oh, we remember this and that, and saying that it was smaller than they remembered. And I think I don't think every venue sticks with a band, but it seems to be that King Tuts does, and I think it's just a really special place. And
what do you think? Why is that? Like, it's hard to put your finger on it, isn't it?
I don't even know when I became aware of King Tuts, or I just always remember knowing about it and being really excited about it, and it was just this place that you wanted to go. And I suppose it's the kind of legendary status, the same like your CBGBs or whatever it is. And I think it's when you look back at the bands that have came through here, you just need to walk up the stairs outside and you see all the bands that have been on it, been on the stage, and then moved on to obviously bigger and better things, bands that have played in here and then gone on to headline Tea in the Park or TRNSMT now. And it's amazing. I think it's one of those things that bands look out, and when they're first coming through, they want to play King Tuts. Like, it's not as if we are pitching King Tuts, they're pitching King Tuts to their agents, or it's the one that, like, we had Jesse Mallon in a few weeks ago, and he's probably must hold the record for playing King Tuts the most times. But
really,
every time he's on tour, it's like he could probably have gone and done a bigger venue, but he was like, no, Tuts, I need to play King Tuts when I'm in Glasgow. And it's just one of those places for some people that they want to be part of it, and they want to kind of, I suppose it's like if you can become part of the history of this venue, then
I think when you walk up the stairs as a band or a young band or whatever age you are, you start seeing their names. Like,
I don't think as a band, I think as a punter, like, I think every single show you've tried to get folk out the venue to kind of start clearing up, and there's just a horde of folk trying to get their photos taken in the stairs, and it's great. And that's what it's all about.
Whose idea was that to put them on the stairs? Do you know?
Nah,
it's brilliant. It's absolutely genius.
I mean, I can't ever remember it not being like that. I'm sure there's somebody that will take the credit, but
totally.
It's great, and it's like you have it in the Barrowlands now, and they've got it in the garage and the cat house. And
is there lyrics at the Barras one? Is it Biffy lyrics or something like that?
No, there's bands on the stairs. I'm sure that maybe I'm getting that wrong.
No, I think you're right. I thought there was Biffy lyrics.
There might be.
Song.
It's one of those things. It's like every venue wants to shout about their history and who's played the venue, and
totally.
That's the perfect way to do it, because it's the place that when you're walking up those stairs, 9 times out of 10 you're looking at your feet. So you're seeing, this played or It's great. That's what
What's
it's all about.
I mean, like you said there, it's different because other venues will be going out to bands and saying, will you come and play my venue, will you come and play my venue? But before we started filming, you says like, you get hundreds of emails every day, people from all over the world just want to come here. And
yeah, I think it's one of those venues that I suppose is probably on everybody's radar when you're in a band, regardless where you're from, especially if you're from Scotland. I think that when I was a bit younger, when tea break was still a thing, and you were starting bands and you wanted to play King Tuts and you wanted to play Tea in the Park and you wanted to do tea break, and that was like, you didn't have any ambitions past that.
totally.
Sometimes you would maybe daydream about playing the barras, but it was always King Tuts, tea break, and I think that's still about. I think that obviously we don't do tea break anymore, but we do stuff like Tenement Trail now that all the local bands want to be a part of, and it's kind of making these showcase opportunities that hopefully you can start growing and start kind of spreading the word about what's going on. And it's
do you ever get any emails in and think, oh my god, this band's terrible, how do I go back to
never.
them?
All the bands I
you
work
just
with are
ignore
great.
them?
They're all brilliant. I don't think there's. I think like when you're working with bands this early on, I think you'd be stupid to write them off and be like, oh, that's terrible. Like, it might not be at that place and time amazing, but you never know, 5, 6, maybe not even that long down the road, they could be doing the barras. Like, it's every band starts somewhere, and it's about trying to engage that enthusiasm and try to get them in and be like, regardless if they're the best band or the worst band in the world, like, you never know what they're going to do in the future. So it's just like making sure that everybody comes in and gets like their equal opportunity, and it's like as I say, I don't think that you should ever
Write someone off.
write something, especially like I know I've worked with bands I have done for years, and it's hard. Like, you've got no money. So somebody could be doing some rubbish demo on their iPhone and sending it to me, and if I listen to that and go, whoa, that's rotten, or
But you know the effort they've put in it.
totally, and it's like, well, like, cool. Let's see, come and let's put a show on and see how it goes, and you can be surprised. You can be like, whoa, like, I didn't expect that, and that happens a lot.
Does it?
Oh, aye. Like, and I think like Scotland at the moment for me is such an exciting place to be for in terms of the stuff that's coming out. There's so many great bands, and there seems to be like a proper buzz that it's not even just in Scotland. Everyone in London's like, what's happening in Scotland constantly. We get phone calls, emails all the time in the office of folk just been like, right, what should we be listening to? Like, and that's like,
Would that be from other venues or from record labels or
from publishers, labels, promoters down south, agents, like everything. It's like, I think that when we are going through like a really strong period just now, we've got bands like Rascalton, The Dunts, Lucia, The Ninth Wave, that are all kind of starting to make a pitch for it all over the UK and some internationally. They've all been to South by, and it's kind of managing expectations of people, being like, oh, so what's the next thing? You don't want to send something too early and go, you should listen to this band, this, like, because I might be really enthusiastic about it, thinking in a year this is going to be amazing. But if I send that to somebody too early, they'll be like, oh, nah, no the now. Or,
you need to know the band's ready for it. The
totally, and
ready
like, I think that you would be doing a band an injustice by sending something too early, or it's about making sure that, like, timing's everything in music. Like, things don't happen by accident. I think that if you're in the right place at the right time, there's a reason why you're there.
Sure.
And it's making sure that those bands are in that right place. That's kind of what I see my job as. It's like building towards something. Whenever I work with a band, and it doesn't happen always, but like I would much rather have a sit down with a band than sit and chat over emails. I'm like, what do you want to do? What in 2 years, where do you see yourselves? Or some bands don't even think that far ahead. Some bands are just like, we don't take this that seriously. We just want to write tunes and have a laugh with our pals. And it's like, totally, like, that's what it's all about as well. The ones that want to be like, in 2 years we're going to sell out Tuts, or in 2 years we're going to be doing St. Luke's. How do we get there? And it's like, I see my job as guiding them to, this is what you should be doing, or this is what my opinion on what you should be doing. Like, I could be talking rubbish.
But I think you're right. I think there's bands out there that just want to have fun with their pals, but the ones that take it serious are the ones that will go to the next level.
Yeah, totally. And I think that even ones that sometimes you start out as a laugh with your bands, and then you're like, oh, we're actually really, really good. And
we played a show in here, must have been about 2 years ago in December approaching. We played with the Snuts, and I think it was their first Tuts headline show. and it was sold out. And we were talking to the guy Jack, singer, in the backstage room beforehand, and he said to me, he's like, we're going to be massive.
Aye.
He's like, we want to go and do America, we want to do this. And at the time I was thinking, God man, like this is your first Touch show, like I really hope that's true. And now they've done amazing signed with Power.
They're one of the most driven bands.
I was so like taken aback by thinking, I really hope you do that.
I think there's something really special about that band, and I think that like the thing is that they've had a vision that there's not like everything they've said they're going to do, they've done.
Yep.
And it's like, and even stuff they're saying to us just now, that Chris Beltran in our office works with them really closely and has done from the beginning, and like he's couldn't be prouder of them. And it's like he's always been like, sometimes they'll say something and he'll be like, oh, maybe we should do this first, but then like they're always right, and it's amazing. Like,
but it's not just luck; it's hard work.
Oh, aye, and like they've grafted, like, and there's like you can graft, but they're talented boys as well. Like their songs are great. They're
100%.
Like they've just got that fire in them, and it's kind of nice to see it doing so well. And TRNSMT on the main stage, it's going to be such a moment for them. It's going to be amazing.
That's class, isn't
it? Like obviously they did the King Tut stage last year, and it was brilliant.
Bouncing,
like folk were going absolutely mental, but
it
was the same. Like Jerry Cinnamon he did King Tut stage 2 years ago at TRNSMT, and then he did the main stage last year, and now he's on Under Stormzy, but it's like
unbelievable.
It's going to be absolutely mental for him.
And that's like, another guy that's supposed started in here.
Totally. You know? And like Jerry's journey's been a bit different. Like Jerry's very grassroots, and he's done everything totally like himself.
He's the grain almost, isn't
it? Totally. But like I think that he's kind of rewritten how you do it, and he's proven so fucking many people wrong. Like it's like, and it's amazing to see that. I love it.
Yeah. As a promoter, how do you take that as a? It might be different for your side because you aren't necessarily management or labels or anything, but it's almost like, see what everything people tell me to do, I'm not doing it. It's almost like two fingers up to the system, isn't it?
Aye, but then like it's rock and roll, isn't it?
Aye.
Like like I think like when you've got somebody like Jerry, like they don't come along very often.
Yep.
It's like a proper special talent that he's galvanised a nation. He's galvanised the country now, and like with the world next. Like,
because it was very much like, I've done Scotland. Well, people were saying, will he translate to English crowds? And then you see him.
It's like I think it's really similar to the Arctic Monkeys. Like he's engaged the working class in something that like whether they're big into music or they're not big into music, is that everybody is listening to it and just going, this is brilliant, and it's what he's writing about. Everybody's done.
It's relatable.
It's like going out and drinking with your pals in the streets or on golf courses, or like you've done that, and it's like it's like the Arctic Monkeys' first record was the same, and it was like you listen to that record and you can put yourself in those songs.
Totally.
And I think that's what you do with Jerry's songs. You listen to those songs, and you're like, I was there.
Yeah.
And it's great.
That's brilliant, eh? Is there any bands that you've seen come through here and you thought they're going to be massive and they've proven you right, or there's them? I mean, like,
I've not been doing this since October, so the kind of the stuff that I'm working with, there's loads of bands I'm really excited about. Like there's an electronic band from Edinburgh that put their first single out called Maranta, who I think are amazing. We had them in here last month supporting Methyl Ethyl, and it was just like they put one single out and I heard it, and it's like I listen to it all the time. Like I'm just like obsessed with it. I think it's amazing.
Sure.
And I was like, I really hope the live show's great, and they've got other tunes, and like it was like Hot Chip, it was brilliant.
Brilliant,
It was just the two of them, and that's really, really good. I think like Johnny and Jokey have got an amazing thing going in the Priory that they've totally like, there's all 10 to 20 bands coming out there just now that are all just absolutely ripping it, like the Vanities and Pleasure Heads and the Dunts and Rascalton, who are a bit further along, and like Baby Strange obviously, which is like that those are the bands they're all looking up to that, but I love Pleasure Heads. I think they're proper amazing. Shred, there's a girl, Hannah Slavin, who she's from Glasgow but she lives in Leeds, she's studying down there. Super poppy, but I think she's amazing. She put just a couple singles out. She put a single out a couple of weeks ago called I'm a Mess, and it's brilliant.
Right, I've not heard it, no.
She's on Summer Nights, she's supporting Tamzine. Tamzine's amazing as well. She's from up in Inverness. I guess it's kind of nice to see that it doesn't seem to be just contained in Glasgow. I think maybe 2 years ago everything was coming out of Glasgow, but it's spread out. There's stuff like Swim School and Cameo Habitat coming out of Edinburgh. Plasmas in Dundee. There's like a couple of bands up in like the Van Sleep and stuff up in Aberdeen are starting to kind of do well. It seems to be becoming more of a kind of national thing, and I think like I kind of saw or see Summer Nights as an opportunity to not just contain it in Glasgow, get stuff from everywhere, because if they can bring a crowd down for Aberdeen in a bus and play with a couple of Glasgow bands, and those Glasgow bands go back up or go and play their first show in Aberdeen, hopefully those folk are going to come out and
as well, don't they?
totally, and like that's what it's all about, and it's
I think that's something that's been quite for me noticeable in the last few years. It seems like all these bands that are on the scene that are, you know, Rascal and the Dunts, etc., they all seem to be giving each other a hand up as well.
It's like totally, and it's like you look at like the likes of Gallus and stuff as well, that they're all best pals, and they all just want to play shows with their pals, and like that's what I mean. Like I don't think any of those bands when they were starting were going, I'm starting this, and in 5 years we're playing the bars and I'm taking this heavy serious. I think they were all just like, I want to go and have fun with my pals, and it turns out they're all amazing. Like they're all writing great tunes and putting on mental shows, and it's amazing to see. Like
it's brilliant, eh? And you touched on it there. So there's King Tuts Summer Nights coming up, and what dates does it kick off? Is it putting you on the spot here?
So it's the week after TRNSMT. It's the
13th of July.
13th, 14th. I think 17th or 18th will be the first show, which is Bubba Trees are headlining, which is going to be a great one to kick off with. It
lasts for what, 10 days or so? Or
Summer Nights? No, well, it's usually been a couple of weeks, but we decided that this, because that wasn't enough work, that we were going to do it over 2 months.
Right.
Which
no pressure.
It's been great though, and I think that it's the fact that we're able to do. We're doing 27 shows with 104 bands, and every single band is amazing. Like, and the standard is so high. Like, I think it's the best lineup that the festival's ever had. I think that
that's because you've booked it though. Eh?
Well, I mean, nah, like, and it, not even just a bit. Like me and Belty worked on it together, and it's and like the two of us at the end of it, we're just kind of, we were looking at each other like, this is like, there's so many great bands. You've got Man and Moon, Joseph, who's coming through, which is just
that sold out in, was that a day or something? Or?
First show sold out in a couple of days. Sold out Tuts earlier this year before he'd released any music.
He's Send or so, is he?
Aye, he stays up in Alexander Parade. He's proper. He's the next one I think that's going to go big.
Right. How would you describe his music?
It's kind of neo soul. It's quite lo-fi. It's kind of Tame Impala meets Amy Winehouse. It's really cool, and he's proper on it. Like, and he's like producing, recording everything himself.
And is he just on stage himself? Is he?
No, he's got a really good band. So he's he's kind of formed a band of folk that used to be in other bands. So he's got Tony McVeigh on drums, who used to be in Shure. He's got Joe from the Vanties playing bass. He's got Leon on guitar, who was in the Lapels, and he's got James on the other guitar, who plays in Lizzie Reed and Static Union. So like he's basically like
experienced musicians on the scene, I suppose.
They're all amazing, like proper, and like the live show's really good, and they've only played like 3-4 shows. And it's just like, I'm really excited to see where that goes, because I think it's going to go
bigger and bigger.
Oh aye, and I think it's going to be amazing. And Joe's like, he's a really nice guy.
Good.
Heavy down to earth.
Nice people do well as well,
totally.
Don't it?
And like, he's just up for having a laugh, and like, I think that he's another one. I don't think he started writing tunes thinking I'm going to do it. I think he just started writing tunes and went, this is actually pretty good.
Right.
And then because I remember like when his two managers sent the first few tracks to Belty, and it was one of those, like, the office just stopped, and like Belty was like, this is amazing, what do you think? And the two of us were just like, whoa,
that's brilliant.
It's great. And like that's kind of like, it happens on a daily basis. Like, we get sent through so much music all the time, not necessarily just from Scotland, but it's
that's what you were saying, you must get what, 400 to 700 emails a day or something, or?
It just depends like what time of year it is and stuff, but it's and like, not all of those emails contain music, but it's, and like I go home for work and listen to music. I listen to music on the way into work. It's a total constant cycle.
You're never going to get fed up with it.
Totally, and it's one of those ones as well that like I used to be engaged in a lot of other things. Like, I was really into politics when I was a bit younger, and I had the realisation, like, 6 months ago, I was like, I've not thought about anything except for music for the last 2 years, like, and like I've got no idea what's happening outside of the music world, but it's just it totally consumes you, and
But there,
it's
like
kind of
you says, there must be some buzz, like when you hear something coming through and you just know
aye.
that's special.
Like there's nothing better, and it's I think like it can take you by surprise sometimes as well. Like you just you've not got low expectations when you get a demo sent through and you listen to it, but sometimes it's just like wow, and like and as I say, it's like knowing that there's a journey ahead for that artist that you may have a small part in forging is like really, really exciting. Like,
and when you touched on Belty there with the Snuts, and I suppose Craig Johnson as well with Lewis, I mean Capaldi, they've been putting these shows on for ages, and it must be such a exciting feeling to see somebody that you've worked with for the early stages going on to make it.
It is, it's wild, and like it's like being at these, like as I touched on earlier, like being at these shows early on in like a place like King Tuts, and been like Capaldi did Tuts 18 months ago, whatever it was, like, and is now like one of the biggest artists in the United Kingdom. Like his album's number one singles for 7 weeks, and the best party you've ever heard. Like
I was loving that Glastonbury walk.
It's brilliant. It's mad, and it's nice to see that. Like I think that things go through cycles, and like when Capaldi was probably the catalyst for what's happening in Scotland, that he came out and everybody down in London was like, fuck, what else is happening in Scotland?
Right.
And
I suppose it'll go through peaks and troughs, won't it? There'll be certain areas like you'll have a Manchester scene or things coming out of London. Or
I think there's the UK music scene as a whole is really strong just now, but I suppose because we are so close to what's happening here and actively involved in it, like I think that there's a really nice thing that's happening now, that I think that all the kids that are at school that are 16, 17 that are getting into music aren't listening to anything that's not coming out of Glasgow or coming out of Scotland. I think that all their favourite bands are
Scottish,
like the Vanities and Pleasureheads and Rascal and the Dunts and Voodoos, and like that's what they're all listening to, and which I think is really exciting.
It's class,
and I think like that's another thing as well, that it's like engaging those kids and making sure that you're not just playing 18 plus shows, and that you're doing venues that they can come to, because they're the future. They're going to come watch your band and go, I can do that, I'm going to start a band, and it's galvanising all of that, and it's great.
And it must be hard for you guys in here as well, because it is mainly 18 plus, isn't it? But
yeah, I mean, but I think that we try and do 14 plus shows when we can. It doesn't always make sense to do it, and I think that it doesn't necessarily always have to be, but I think there's certain shows that will come through that we'll be like, right, we'll do that, needs to be 14 plus, or and I like sometimes you put a 14 plus show on and there's nobody under 30 in the room, like it's just it just depends what the demographic is, but I think that it's making sure that, like, I think like that, as I say, it's the future of music, so like they've got a place here as much as anybody else does.
Yep. And right, so who else is on this billet? Summer Nights then that we should look out for.
I have the poster in front of me.
If you had to pick your highlights, obviously Joseph would be.
I think that, like, genuinely, I don't think there's a bad show. Like, I think the Tamsin show is going to be really good. I think the Man and Moon show will be great. I'm really looking forward to the Shred show. Pleasureheads, obviously, as I've said already. Anna Sweeney's got a really cool thing going on just now. I think that would be good.
And when you're booking for something like this, are you thinking like, I want to get people to come along most nights, or are you thinking that?
I think like
because you do like a pass, don't you, a wristband where you can get into.
We used to do that because we're doing so many shows this year. We didn't think it made any sense, because to make it work financially, we'd have to do a ticket for £100 or something. I don't think anybody's going to splash £100, but I think that there's just so many exciting bands, and I think like the ones that are headlining are the ones that are a bit further along. But there's like some of the bands that are on undercard, like there's a band Who's Olivia who I think are really, really great. It's still quite early on for them, but I think within the next couple of years that could be going somewhere. They're supporting Fabric Bear, which will be a really good show. They've got a Fabric Bear of a new single coming out next week, I think, which is really, really, really good. Everything that they're putting out has been really, really consistent, and the lovely boys as well, so that should be a good show. The Gala show is going to be amazing. That's that's kind of one of the ones I'm most looking forward to as well. That's the third last night now because of the second Joseph show, but the last Friday night in here with Gallus and Das Plast.
Crazy, wasn't it?
It's going to be great.
Is that sold out yet? Is it?
Gallus, I think that the local bands still have some tickets, so I reckon that it will sell out. I think that as well, like I know we're doing more shows than we've ever done, but I think that hopefully we'll come out with a record number of sellout shows, and hopefully all the bands are going to get something out of it and play to new people and play to busy rooms, and because that's what it's all about. And like previously we've done kind of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but we've decided just to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays, and because they're the better nights of the week for folk coming out, and hopefully that kind of makes the rooms busier. And
definitely.
It's going to be great. Like it's
What advice
I can't
would
believe
you
it's
give
only
then
like
to
a
like
couple.
young bands that are coming through on the scene? Like,
I think the thing that frustrates me the most is when I find a band and I go on their Facebook and they've not got any contact details on it.
you get that a lot.
Oh, all the time. Like
Really,
genuine, like honestly, probably 60 to 70% of the time I'm looking for find a band and they've got no contact details and I need to message them on Facebook. It's like, make it easy for people to find you.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing that I do when I find a new band is I go on their Facebook, find their contact details and put it into my spreadsheet. That like we've got this massive like spreadsheet that's basically get every single local band in Scotland on it.
Right.
It's a shame because I don't always have time to sit and look for it, and it's like the one thing that you need to do is make yourself visible, make yourself easy to find.
And that seems so simple as well.
Oh, totally. But and it's like even things like band names. Like if you've got a band name that's like Till, and you type in Till into Google, like no, that I don't think there's a band called Till. I'm just using that like just like an object or something that you're going to have to be in like the 600th page of Google search to find your band. It's like anything that you can do to make yourself more visible, you should be doing. And I think like always like have something that I can listen to.
Yeah.
There's like loads of bands will like be like, oh, we sound like this, but I would rather hear it before I book them.
Yeah.
Not even just because I want to see if it's any good, just so that I know who else to put them on a bill with, or
So
what shows to pitch them for, or because it's not even just about like putting like local band bills together. Like I book all the support slots for if we're adding locals to any of our shows. Like I'm like looking for bands that are going to be suitable and that can hopefully go and play a good show with this touring band. And if I don't know what your band sounds like, then I can't really pitch you. And I can't pitch you to an agent and be like, this band sound like this, they're really good, because the agent's going to want to hear it.
I suppose for people listening or watching it, don't really know what the story with that is, like, because I think people would automatically assume like, oh, there's a band playing the Barrowlands next week. Is it going to be local bands that are supporting? But a lot of the time, you know, agents are bringing their own roster with them as well, aren't they?
Yeah, but I think that Barrowlands, we very seldom will get to put a local support on a Barrowland show. Or like I would always say to bands, like if you're looking to start getting supports, then go on our website, Gigs in Scotland, go on the King Tuts website and have a search through. If you see shows that you'd be like, I'd love to play that show, send me a list of them. 9 times out of 10 I might be like, you're not playing the Hydro, like that's not happening. But like anything kind of St Luke's level and below, kind of 500-600 capacity and below, like that's kind of where we can pitch you for things. And whether it be your favourite band that are playing in King Tuts, or they're playing at St Luke's, or they're playing at Oramora, whatever it is, or it's me going to you, this band are going to be really hot in a year, they're playing their first Glasgow show, would love to have you on the bill, and hopefully like you can make that connection. They're going to be in 3 years time, they'll be doing the Barras. You want to be in amongst this band now, and like that's kind of part of what it is as well. It's like getting in early with these touring acts that are starting to kind of go on their journey while you're still building things. And it's,
I mean, the perfect example of that's like the weekend there you had Dylan John Thomas in, who's been supporting Jerry Cinnamon, and every day he's done basically across Europe. And
I think that the arena tour is the first one he's not been on. Like the Coral are doing that, but and the Dylan show was great, and like Belty was raving about it, and just like this little kid that Jerry's taking him under his wing, but he's not a mini Jerry Cinnamon. He's his own guy, and he's got his own tunes, and that's going to be a really exciting thing as well, because I think that what Jerry's done is Jerry's given him the opportunity to go out and play in front of 2,000 people a night, which folk at Dylan's level don't get.
Yep.
And
the experience you'll
totally,
get.
and he's now got a really good team around him, and a lot of people are really excited about what he's going to be doing, and it's definitely going to be one to watch over the next couple of years. I'm sure he's going to absolutely smash it.
It's brilliant. So it's just to round off, we'll hopefully catch up with some bands that are going to be on Summer Nights after this. But what's the best gig you've seen in here? Hard question, because I'd imagine you see gigs nearly every night of the week. Don't you?
It's the best show I've ever seen in Tuts.
What's the worst show?
Is
that easy to answer?
No. I should have thought about this. You should have told me this one in advance.
Or any nights?
I think like some of the ones that will kind of stick out in my head. Sam Fender did a show in here last year, which was amazing.
He's now opening Transmit, isn't he? Is he?
Aye. He did the King Tut stage last year at Transmit. The best show I've seen in here was the Killers actually last year. That was amazing. Seeing the Killers in here was just.
It's almost like something
wild,
unheard of, isn't it? Aye.
Totally, like we had Lily Allen in last year as well, which was really, really good. There's a band from Australia called the Teskey Brothers, who I love, who they've played in here a couple of times in the last year, and both of those shows have just been absolutely amazing. The first show they came and it was just them, and then the second time they came with a brass section, and it's like Marvin Gaye. They're proper amazing. Like these hillbilly guys from Australia, they just sing this beautiful soul music, and it was really, 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 really
Doesn't
good.
fit the image almost.
No, but it's and they're lovely guys as well, and they were really, really excited. The first time they played, it didn't quite sell out, and they came back and it was sold out, and they were really excited. And we do a thing in Tuts that when you sell out Tuts, you get a bottle of whiskey, and it's King Tut's branded whiskey, and it's.
Actually, in the last podcast we done, I had Luna the Professor in.
Oh, aye.
They were saying they didn't get a bottle of whiskey when they sold it out.
Aye, they didn't sell it in advance.
That's a good answer.
Aye.
Because they were.
That'll be next for them though. We'll get them back in, and they will sell it in advance, and it'll make it a bit more special as well. See, when you can have that sold out poster 3 weeks before you're playing a show and be like, we've sold this out. It's a bit more of a statement, and it makes it all a bit more special. And
we'll go back to them and let them know that their whiskey's on its way next time they sell it.
I hope so. They're another band that are going to do really well. Like, they were on New Year's Revolution, so it was a sold out show eventually, but like amazing. Like
hilarious boys as well. To be fair, but Johnny's voice is unreal. You know, it's absolutely brilliant. Aye, and I suppose one other thing. I mean, you've said there's been so many amazing bands, but I suppose people almost think you get bands with big egos as well. Do you ever get any hassle in here or anything that throws you off? Or?
Nah, like I think that I'm sure there have been difficult circumstances. We've got a really good team in here that are really good at working with people, and they're people. They're people. Aye. They're people. And like the guy John Paul, who he kind of does all the advances in here, and he's kind of one of the head reps. He's you can ask him a question and get a 3-hour-long answer. He'll talk the ear off you.
Decent guy, aye.
Lovely guy, and he's got a story for everything, and it's just like it's making sure you've got the right people on the right shows. Like if you know that there's an artist going to come in that could maybe be suited to one of the reps you've got, you're going to make sure that rep's on the show. And we don't really have many issues. Like I think that 9 times out of 10 folk that are coming in here are coming in to have a good night. Like as I say, they're going to be coming in really excited that they're playing in King Tuts, and
that's it.
It's what it's all about.
Nice one. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Much appreciated, and look forward to Summer Nights and
It's going to be
Transmit.
great.
Top man.
Nice one. Cheers, man.
Thanks very much to everybody that's tuned into this episode of the DW podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. Cheers.